Short night, but we feel really proud of ourselves because we made it to Waterloo Station. I don't know if you can see. And it's really, really big and kind of intimidating, but we got it. We used the self-service ticket kiosk and got our little tickets to Hampton Court. So we're gonna go. This is like one of my favorite things in all of London. And I'm just real happy that nothing got messed up this morning, knock on wood. But they just announced that we're on the right train. So we're gonna take a little 30-minute train ride from Waterloo Station to Hampton Court and go from there. So I'm just really happy everything went just clean today. Here's another shot of the trains. I don't know if you can really see, but back that way is where you get tickets and stuff. Once you figure it, I mean, I feel like once you figure it out, it's not as intimidating, but I think that we did I think we did very well for being not really familiar. Like whenever we were here for London semester, we would take the train occasionally, but all the tickets were bought for us and they just kind of told us where to show up. So I'm just real proud of us. Good job.
We did it.
Here we go. I think it's kind of overrated, but then again, I'm not really a Ferris wheel or heights or view kind of person, so.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your guidance vehicle. Welcome aboard this Southwest train service to Hampton Court.
So we just got off the train, and there's Hampton Court. It's one of Henry VIII's palaces. And what's really neat is that he would have ridden here on the Thames to get there. And I can't wait. It's one of my favorite things. So we're gonna walk across the bridge. And it really is neat just to imagine this was the same place that Henry VIII was. Pretty cool. There it is. Ooh. Oh my gosh, it's just my favorite. Just picture Henry VIII coming out of that thing. Does that not blow your mind? That it's like that's exactly where he was. Oh y'all, like it's just too much. It's so cool. Okay, well we better get our tickets before but see, I'm gonna make her take my picture in one of these carriages. Just because that's me. Okay, we're gonna get our tickets. Here's the courtyard of Hampton Court Palace. Oh, it's just awesome. About to get our audio guides. There's Kurtbert. He's anxious to get his audio guide. He's asked me about it for like the last 10 minutes. So we're gonna get our audio guides. Here's Henry VIII's Great Hall. Henry and Anne Boleyn worked on this room, the design for it. This is where all the court activities would have happened. Just amazing. You can see here that after she was executed, they tried to get rid of everything that had to do with her, but in this middle panel, upper right, you can see the H and the A. So they didn't get everything, but Henry and Anne worked on this room, the design of this room together. amazing. So this is where people would wait to talk to the king, and it was where his guards would be to guard people from going into his private chambers. But this is where people would wait and solicit him as he walked through. It's just crazy. I think his apartments are that way, but this is where he would walk through. So this is where the servants would stay and wait to be called upon by Henry VIII. And this is how they would enter the room. Next to it was a hidden tapestry. So they just kind of appeared like magic in the room. And all these pieces of furniture from the 16th century. So this is the haunted gallery where they say that Catherine Howard, when she was arrested, they say that she broke free from the guards and ran through this hall to try to get to Henry at the other end to beg him for her life. And the legend says that she still haunts this gallery. There's a good picture of Henry VIII. Here's part of the kitchens. So this is what they would consider a Tudor refrigerator. The quarter is so narrow and it was open to rain and hardly any sun would come through here. But this is where they would keep the fish and everything cool. I'm gonna keep going this way. Excuse me. So different on either sides of this corridor is where everything was stored, food-wise. What they call it, fish court or fish something, but it was to keep everything cold. And here we're going into this part of the great kitchen. It would have been bigger, but you can look at the ceiling and it gives you an idea of the scale of what it used to be. They would feed over 1,000 people that were at court. This is the baking area. So something we just learned is that these pies were not made to eat like for pie's sake, but it was just another way to create a container to cook your meat in. So they wouldn't even eat like the pastry pie part. They would just use it to cook the meat and just eat what was inside. So I did not know that. So this is how you would adjust the temperature. You have different pots under each thing. You could adjust the temperature for your cooking. Here they are showing us how they would roast the meat.
Beef there, beef flank. But yeah, you're right. I mean, beef was the staple. I could have beef twice a day, but that was also supplemented with mutton at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and veal at 10 o'clock in the morning.
veal at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that was dinner.
Yeah.
So for dinner I would have half a kilo of beef, half a kilo of veal, 2 loaves of bread, 4 pints of beer. And then at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which was supper, again another half a kilo of beef, half a kilo of mutton, 2 loaves of bread, 4 pints of beer.
What do you think? Are you jealous?
Ready to go home and
Anybody else want to go before I sit down?
For a sit.
Comfortable?
Oh yeah, I want to.
It would have been a lot more manic in Henry VIII's day, of course.
So do they go in shifts then?
No, from the documents that we've been reading, it's saying that if you're employed as a spit boy, you stay there until it's done. And there were 2 meals a day, so you'd be roasting for about 7 hours a day. But not with such a puny fire. The fires would have been all the way to the top of the brickwork.
Yeah, that's hot, right?
Yeah. And you'd be turning multiple splits.
Yeah.
We actually store the wood in the bits at the back there now. They wouldn't have done because we get through a ton of wood a week, so we can store it here. But they get through a ton a day at each fireplace, and there's 6 fireplaces here. So that would have given you some shelter. You could have stood in there and juggled around. So everything was this was the original Tudor food factory. So everything was jointed up, cooked. We worked out from the documents that it would be about 8 oxen, 15 sheep.
Melville is in every corner and every turn I take.
Ah, he comes anon. Sure, madam, let us have some sport.
What sport, Lord Dudley? I thought you were as keen to get away from him as I.
Oh, the trout must needs be tickled by now. Sure, madam, let us play some sport, and we shall play in turn. I shall silence myself yonder, and though unseen, shall I hear your conference.
Lord Robert Dudley, you grow wickeder with your schoolboy pranks. To play hide you, seek you with the Scots ambassador. And all because my cousin Mary would not wed you.
Are you not glad she would not?
Sir Melville is a gloomy and grudging fellow. And his mistress in spurning you insults me too. For the which, double injury, I deserve some recompense. So I concur, Lord Dudley, let us lead him in a little dance. For the jest, no more. Silence thee hither, so I may set my springs for Lord Melville.
But what if I be discovered?
Tush, my lord, 'twas your notion. I'll play along if it will humour thee. Silence thee, get thee hither, so I may tickle this trout, as you say. If you love me, keep my commandments, and I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another.
Majesty?
Lord Melville, heaven!
Ah, Majesty.
What are you doing here?
I heard such melody is ravished, whereby I was thrown in, ere I knew how.
Oh, Lord Melville, you must come in. You must not stand like a reluctant schoolboy at the door.
You look kind of like an angel.
Well, thank you, sir.
And does your Majesty play any other instrument?
The virginals. I heard my cousin Mary of Scotland is a fine musician also.
Ah, she does indeed play ravishingly. Reasonably well.
What instrument does she play, your queen?
Strangely like, the same as you, madam, the lute and virginals.
And which of us, say you, my lord, plays best?
Ah, your Majesty does indeed play excellently well.
That may be so, my lord, but which of us plays best, your eye?
A very close thing.
But were you compelled to make judgment? Were I to hold some poniard or rapier to your breast, and demand, verily say now, my lord, which plays best, your Queen of Scotland or myself? Which way would your answer fall?
Well, then I would have to say, though it be a matter of a hair's breadth, it would indeed be your Majesty who plays best.
Strange loyalty to your mistress, the Queen. She must be very pleased with you as an envoy, Sir James.
I aim to serve my Majesty the Queen to the very marrow of my soul, Majesty.
Of course you do. Shall we sit on these low cushions and be easy?
Certainly, ma'am.
A drunken porter or something.
A drunken porter. We're caught, men. No matter, do as he lists. Men of parts, men of many parts, do as list. But no unnatural nor unseemly gesture. Are you perfect in?
I did call it till 3 this morning.
Ah, a marvel.
General, the member has time is on our side. We will take the cue and hear the early body and substance of the longer speeches.
Save the king!
Save the king!
So we're having lunch at one of the Hampton Court cafes, and this is on next to one of the small gardens, just a really small little side yard. We're gonna go in the big gardens after this, but I got the jacket potato, which is basically a baked potato with chili on top. And then what did you get?
Chicken and ham.
Pottage? Was it pottage?
Pottage, yes.
Yeah, we had to think twice about the term because we don't use pottage, the word pottage, but it was really good. And a few little desserts. I had to get some English shortbread and lemon drizzle. So we're gonna eat and then we'll go into the other gardens. But this is the little cafe. The weather is so beautiful. Everybody's outside. It's just cute because mommies are mommies everywhere. Here's some English mommies. Looks like they're having a little play date. I just think it's sweet because mommies look the same everywhere. Just loving on their kids. Sweet little families. Granted, their play dates are at a palace. No big deal. It's just really sweet to watch. Okay, so one thing I wanted to do was give a little history. I don't think I did that at the beginning. And of course, I don't know remotely what other people know, but basically, Cardinal Wolsey, who was the right-hand man of King Henry VIII, took control of this property in the 1500s, and his goal was just to make it a beautiful, like, Renaissance palace for himself to live in. Well, he was also the one that Henry had commissioned to get him a divorce from Catherine of Aragon so that he could marry Anne Boleyn. So basically what happened is that Cardinal Wolsey petitioned for 2 years, just trying to get everyone to agree, the Pope and Catherine, and none of them would consent. And so he knew that he was failing at what Henry had asked him to do, and he really knew that his days were numbered as far as being one of Henry's right-hand men. So in a last-ditch effort, he basically gave the palace to Henry VIII as just an olive branch, basically. And I want to say that within 2 years, he died, or I'm sure he was out of power, but I'm pretty sure that he died within 2 years of giving this to Henry. So basically, this is all Tudor style, and Hampton Court has 2 different styles of architecture, basically. This is more the Tudor style with the dark brick, and then on the back side, it is more Georgian, I guess is the phrase. I think that's right. In the 1700s. And so William and Mary, is that right? Golly, I gotta get my facts straight. But I believe William and Mary lived here. And their original plan was to tear down all of the Tudor parts of the palace, which would have been absolutely horrible. And so they ran out of money, thankfully. So they left this, and they only basically reconstructed a certain number of rooms inside. But what they did redo was in the Baroque, I think they called it the Baroque style. Anyway, I'm jumping all over the place, but that's what's interesting about Hampton Court is that there's 2 different styles of architecture. So we're about to tour William III's apartments, which are very different and more ornate, I guess is the word, than when Henry was here. So we're going to start that part of the tour. This is Kurt's favorite part of the stateroom tours.
It's my private chamber.
Yeah, Kurt loves pronouncing things wrong just to get my goat. It's great. Going down the king's back stairs. This is where you would go if you wanted to really talk to him. Really cool. This was a walkway created by William III for walking in bad weather. So it's just a huge long walkway that looks out over the gardens. Not a bad way to exercise, I would say. So here we are, we just finished the inside tour and we're going to walk to the gardens. You can see it's pretty archways. It was a really neat tour. I tell people, or I told Kurt, I said I think you get the most bang for your buck with this, with Hampton Court Palace, because you can go on like 4 different tours with, you know, with different kind of audio guide things. So I personally think it's the best thing to do when you come to London. So let's see if this is how we get out. Yeah. Here it is. So pretty. And it's starting to rain. Imagine that. Okay, so this is the Privy Garden, and this, in my opinion, is just gorgeous. You can see all across here. It's really pretty topiaries. And then you have the Georgian back of the palace. So it doesn't even look like the same palace from the front and the back. It's really crazy. But it's starting to rain, and I really hope we don't get caught in the rain. Do you think we're gonna get caught in the rain? Yeah, so at Hampton Court you get like 4 different tours that you can go on, and then you can look out into the gardens, and I just think it's a must-do. Once you kind of figure out the train, I think that's kind of the hardest part, is once you just figure out the train. It's the easiest thing in the world to get to. So we've had a wonderful day at Hampton Court Palace. What did you think of Hampton Court Palace?
Interesting.
It's my favorite one. Okay. Back to the train we go. Well, on our way out, we found some inspiration for our backyard. Is that not the most gorgeous thing?
It just knows just the dimensions.
And then on this side, you have the different topiaries. Or just types of things they use in their gardens. And here's kind of the back of Wolsey's, well, Henry VIII's palace. Another neat thing is that each of the chimneys has a different pattern. I don't know if you can tell, but they all vary in pattern. Just for you history nerds. guess what we're seeing? Cannot wait. One of my favorite shows. Here we go.